Welcome to Nice and Blunt. My name is Adam Marancho, and it's Saturday, September 14th. So it's time for some injury news and updates. I will be adjusting all of my rankings at all 5 positions based on the news I'm about to give you. But there are some teams that are completely healthy, so that's good news. These are the teams that do not have any changes worth mentioning. Washington, the Commanders are healthy. The Titans are healthy. The Bucks are healthy. The Jets and the Giants are both healthy. The Saints are healthy with the exception of Kendry Miller, but he was already on IR. New Orleans, also healthy with the exception of Kendrick Bourne, but we already knew was not going to play. Las Vegas is fully healthy. The Jags are fully healthy. In Denver, they did add Audric Estime to the IR slot, but no one was starting him in the first place, so kind of irrelevant. In Carolina, everyone is healthy with the exception of Jonathan Brooks, who we already knew was not going to play, so nothing changes there. And then Baltimore, Atlanta, and Arizona are also healthy as well. So 14 teams are totally healthy. You don't have to worry about them in week 2. But in San Francisco, you do have to worry about Christian McCaffrey if you drafted him. Boy, I hope you handcuffed him to Jordan Mason, because if you didn't, you are fucking pissed. McCaffrey is now on IR, and he's going to miss at least 4 more weeks. So we'll see when he gets back, but at the moment, Mason offers some league-winning potential. If he plays as the starter for a majority of the season, he will be the reason why teams make the playoffs or miss it if they have McCaffrey and don't have Mason. So I hope you cuffed him up. I have Mason in a league where I didn't draft McCaffrey, and that owner's trying to trade for him. I'm not going to budge. No fucking chance. Seattle, though, is going to be without Kenneth Walker, most likely. He's doubtful with that oblique injury, and that's not good news. I think there's actually a chance that the Patriots win and go 2-0 to start the season, but I'm not going to change my opinion. I still think that's really hard to trust. It is in New England, though, so everything is kind of playing into their hand. I'd be tempted to bet the Patriots against the spread, given they're getting some points at home in that spot. So that's interesting. I don't think Kenneth Walker will play, and that means Zach Charbonnet moves up the board considerably at running back. In Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson is questionable with that calf injury. I think he'll be the straight-up backup this week, but I don't think he starts. I think that would be kind of throwing him under the bus to lose against Sean Payton while he's not 100%. So I do think that Fields will start, but Russ is maybe making his way back and maybe going to take that job for himself once he's 100%. But we'll see what happens. I think Fields is the starter this week. In Philly, though, this is a weird situation regarding A.J. Brown and his hamstring. He was limited on Friday and did not practice today on Saturday. So not good news. They play on Monday night, and you don't really have a good pivot option in that matchup. If you don't have Devontae Smith, who you're probably already starting, or Drake London, I don't think you feel good about starting one of those tight ends instead at the flex spot. So that sucks. I would not feel good about A.J. Brown, and I did lower him in the rankings. A bit of an upgrade for a guy like Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Maybe Jalen Hurts is not as safe as well. In Minnesota, we already knew TJ Hawkinson was out, but now so is Jordan Addison, out with an ankle injury, and that means Jalen Naylor will step up in his place, but I think it's just more work for the run game. I think Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler will get some more volume, and then, Justin Jefferson is going to see at least 10, 12 targets this week. So that's not good. The Vikings need him to have a chance. In LA, the Rams put Puka Nacua on IR, so that's not good. We already expected that, though. And Steve Avila, the guard, is also on IR. But Rob Havenstein will play. That's some positive news on the offensive line, and they're really going to need him to keep Stafford upright and healthy in this one. So that's an upgrade in general to Cooper Kupp, Colby Parkinson, Kyron Williams, Demarcus Robinson, and Tyler Johnson, but all players I mentioned earlier in the week had an upgrade, so nothing really changes in my rankings. But in LA for the Chargers, Joshua Palmer questionable with a knee injury, limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then did not practice at all on Friday. So I do not think he plays. I think he is a long shot, and that means Quentin Johnston actually has a chance to step up once again. He wasn't atrocious last week, but are you really going to trust QJ? I doubt it. I at least ranked him where I previously did not. In Kansas City, Hollywood Brown now placed on IR, and reports say he's going to be out for months, not weeks. So terrible news for Hollywood. If you drafted him, you might as well cut him at this point. I don't think he's really worth holding on to unless you have like multiple IR slots. If you need the space, don't be afraid to cut Hollywood at the moment. So not really changing anything for Rishi Rice and Xavier Worthy this week, but long term, they maintain that kind of must start value every single week. And then in Indianapolis, Joshua Downs is questionable with an ankle injury. Limited Wednesday and Thursday. He didn't play last week, but he was full on Friday. So I expect him to suit up on Sunday, and that's really good news for him. I don't think you're ready to start him, but I actually think this is a sneaky upside option for A.D. Mitchell, because if you recall last week, A.D. Mitchell was the wide receiver 2, and Alec Pierce, Ashton Dulin caught the deep touchdowns. If Downs is available, then that pushes A.D. Mitchell to run a lot of the routes that we saw Pierce and Dulin running themselves. So I actually like this for A.D. Mitchell a little bit more than Josh Downs, at least until we see what to expect from Downs. I think Mitchell could get those deep targets down the field, and he does offer some big boom upside potential. So that's interesting. I probably would not start either of them, though. Just thought I'd mention it. In Houston, Dameon Pierce questionable with a hamstring injury. Did not practice on Friday, and I do not expect him to suit up. So no one was starting Dameon Pierce, but maybe more work is in line for Joe Mixon for the second week in a row. In Green Bay, interesting situation regarding Jordan Love. Questionable, did not practice all week with that MCL strain. However, they did not put him on IR. They have not ruled him out. So I don't expect him to play. I think I'd be kind of shocked if he does. But according to LaFleur, he does not need to practice in order to suit up. So maybe, just maybe, he does. If that is the case, then you'd be a lot more confident in the receivers. But I don't think they're going to force it this week. I think Malik Willis will get the start, and that's not good at all. I don't think you're starting Malik or anyone other than Josh Jacobs, but maybe Jaden Reed is so tempting and talented that he does crack your flex rankings. I actually ranked him in the top 25 this week, but good luck there. You're going to need it. I do not think Jordan Love will play. In Detroit, Jameson Williams questionable with an ankle injury, limited all week in practice, and a little bit of a toss-up to suit up. I think he will, a bit of a game time decision, but I would probably expect him to be on the field, but I don't think they're going to push it with him. Last week, I think, was his coming out party, and like they really wanted him to get confident and established in this offense because they need him over the course of the season. But I think this week is a big bounce back for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I think they'll lean on those two a lot more. And I think St. Brown is going over 100 yards. Last week, he was not very involved in general. So I would feel great about St. Brown and Laporta. I kind of feel like Jameson is a bit risky, though. Much more of a flex play with upside rather than a lock in your lineup. I'd be a bit worried about JMO, to be honest with you. And then in Dallas, Jake Ferguson is doubtful, did not practice all week long with an MCL strain himself, so don't think he's playing. I removed him from the rankings. Brandon Cooks gets an upgrade. Luke Schoonmaker gets an upgrade, but not enough to start. I think they lean a little bit more on the running backs in this one. They don't need Ferguson to beat the Saints at home. In Cleveland, though, David Njoku also out at tight end. Nick Chubb, we also knew, was already out. So in general, I think that's just more targets for Jerry Jeudy in this offense. He's a little bit more appealing, but not safe enough to start, in my opinion. In Cincinnati, annoying that T. Higgins is doubtful again. He did not practice all week long, and maybe he's just playing it safe because it is a contract season for him on the tag. So that's not good. I hope he comes back soon, but they really need him against the Chiefs, and that's not going to help them at all. So can't start T. Higgins. And then in Chicago, I don't think you can start Rome Odunze or Keenan Allen either. They're both game time decisions on Sunday night, and you don't have that many other options to pivot to that I would have ranked behind them. So I don't think you're going to trust them at all. I think you'd rather just play it safe with other guys that you have on your roster. So Rome, I think, is more likely to play. He was at least limited on Friday with his MCL strain, but they might just play it safe. Originally, it was week to week. Now it's day to day, and he's a game time call. I don't think he plays, but according to him, he wants to. Keenan, on the other hand, I'm legitimately concerned about, has a heel injury and did not practice all week long. He is a veteran, so maybe he doesn't need to, but I don't think it's good news. I don't think you want to start either of them, and I think DJ Moore gets an upgrade because there's going to be a lot more volume headed his way. I also think you're upgrading Cole Kmet in this situation. More targets for him. Hopefully, Gerald Everett does not vulture him. But a downgrade to Caleb Williams. I don't think you can start Caleb at all after last week's game. He's not exciting, and without two of his top weapons, the upside is diminished. So that's it for all of the injury updates. Some weird situations with some players like A.J. Brown we didn't expect, Kenneth Walker, Odunze, and yeah, weird situation overall. But let's get into my updated adjusted rankings. We begin at running back, where there's only two players that really move the needle. It's Jordan Mason, who's now a top 5 running back for me. I have him now at number 4. He's obviously a must start this week and moving forward with McCaffrey on IR. He has league winning potential now if he plays more than like half the season as the starter. So love Jordan Mason. You have to start him. And I think you also have to start Zach Charbonnet if you have him. He's now my running back number 13. I bumped him up 27 spots, and I previously had Kenneth Walker at number 6. So that's why a lot of these players just stay put while A-Chain and Bijan move down. They get jumped by Mason, but then don't get jumped by Charbonnet. James Conner, though, moves up 1 spot because of the decrease of the Seattle starting running back. But Charbonnet at 13, I think we'll get a shit ton of volume, maybe like 25 touches potentially, and like 5 of those could be catches. So love his PPR value. I think he does find the end zone. I think Charbonnet has one of the safest floors this week in week 2. So he's a must start. So is Mason. Otherwise, my rankings didn't change at all. Players outside the top 27 do bump up 1 or 2 spots just because those other players were taken out of the equation, like McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker. So very little gets changed at running back, but now Mason and Charbonnet are top 15 must start running backs. At wide receiver, though, I diminished A.J. Brown by 5 spots. I don't think he's anywhere near as safe, and honestly, I kind of feel like this might be still too high of a ranking. I feel like he's a legitimate game time decision, and that is very risky on Monday Night Football. There are not many good pivoting options to offer in that game. So unless you have Drake London, then it's not really safe, in my opinion. So I'd probably just bench him, but if he does play, I think you have to start him, and that's why I still rank him number 10. It's really a toss-up. I think let me know in the comment section what your situation is, and I'll let you know what I think. But odds are you might just want to call it quits with A.J. Brown this week and just play it safe. I hope you have a guy like Devontae Smith or Goddard to pivot to, but I don't feel great about it. I really don't. Late week hamstring injury, then didn't practice the next day. Really, really not good. So kind of worried about A.J. Brown. We'll see, but I still ranked him top 10, 5 spots lower than on Wednesday. Inside the top 20, though, I did bump up DJ Moore 4 spots. He's now my wide receiver 16, and with a lot more volume coming his way, I think he's a very safe play. I took Keenan Allen out of the rankings entirely, and then Rome is not ranked inside the top 50. So love DJ Moore this week. A great, great option. I think there's 10, maybe 12 plus targets headed his way on Sunday night. So he jumps these other 4 guys. That's why they move down. But otherwise, the only player I'm changing my opinion on would be Ladd McConkey, who moves up 3 spots because Keenan gets taken out, and I bumped him up above Jameson Williams and George Pickens. I'm worried about Jameson and his ankle injury. He's still a very appealing flex option, so I only bumped him down 1 spot. If he does play, that's going to be great for JMO. You're still excited with what you saw last week. But George Pickens has such a bad matchup, I don't think it's that safe, and that's why I did bump up Ladd McConkey with Josh Palmer unlikely to suit up. So I really like McConkey from a floor standpoint, and I think he's a legit flex option at wide receiver 32, one of the safer guys you can find. But that's really the only change there. Keenan gets taken out, so that's why these other players move up 1 spot. And then outside the top 45, these guys move up 2 spots, if not more, because I also took out Jordan Addison and Josh Palmer. So not really a change in like opinion on them. It's just how the rankings pan out. But I did add Jalen Naylor to the top 55 and Quentin Johnston right behind him at 56. Maybe they get some volume, but very touchdown dependent options. I think they're more so just like DFS plays than anything else. So good luck there. Not feeling great about it. and it's a bummer that T. Higgins, Puka, Marquise Brown, Keenan Allen, and Jordan Addison are no longer in the rankings at all. So that's it at wide receiver. Let's move over to quarterback now, where I'm tempted to bump down Jalen Hurts, but I did not. I kept him at number 3, but my expectations are a little bit lowered if A.J. Brown doesn't suit up. But I still have him at number 3. I think he's a must start no matter what. The only other change would be Caleb Williams, who I bumped down 3 spots. He's now my quarterback 22, and I'd actually rather go with Daniel Jones in an excellent matchup at Washington than Caleb. I'm worried about his upside with no Keenan or Rome, most likely. That is not good, and he looked really bad in week 1. I don't think you can trust Caleb at the moment. So he moves down. That's why those other 3 move up 1 spot, but it's not really that big of a difference. In general, you probably weren't starting any of them in the first place. At tight end, I made 1 change, technically 2. I took out Jake Ferguson, but he probably shouldn't have been ranked in the first place. So that's why Juwan Johnson moves up 1 spot. But Cole Kmet is moving up 10 spots because of those injuries at receiver with the Bears. So I really like Kmet this week as one of the better streaming options if you need it. I think Kmet will see more volume, and hopefully Gerald Everett doesn't vulture him, but I think you'll be fine. I think Kmet is the one to start. So he's not top 15, but at that point, you're really hoping for a touchdown already. So not the safest bet, but an interesting top 15 tight end now this week. At defense, though, I didn't change a thing. So these are my updated positional rankings at quarterback, tight end, and defense, the top 25 at all 3 positions. And I'll leave this up for a few more seconds. You can pause it if you need it. But now on the screen are my top 40 wide receivers and running backs, a combo for the flex position. And again, let me know in the comment section down below if you have any lineup decisions you'd like me to help you make. I'm happy to offer my opinion, and that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I will be giving you, all the content I put up this week is what we're getting every single week through the end of the season. And hope to see you there on the channel moving forward. But my name is Adam Riancho, and thank you for watching Nice and Blunt. I'll see you next time. I hope you win in week 2.